Broadcasting from the Allen B. Levan NSU Broward Center of Innovation at Nova Southeastern University. Welcome to Sunshine Startups Live, featuring rockstar entrepreneurs, bright ideas, and experts on the startup ecosystem. And now your hosts of Sunshine Startups Live, Jim Ryan and John Wensveen.
Hi, and welcome to Sunshine Startups Live. It's 2024, already starting off with some terrific guests this year, and great to have you with us again. And remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast as we talk about startups, entrepreneurs with success, and those that foster the ecosystem. I'm Jim Ryan, investor, entrepreneur, and host, and I'm joined by my good friend, starting off the year once again, John Wensveen. John, great to be with you again.
Great to be with you. The sunshine is always alive here in the studio, and I'm so excited about going into our second season. And for those that don't know who I am, I'm John Wensveen, the Chief Innovation Officer here at NSU and Executive Director of the Allen B. Levan NSU Broward Center of Innovation, the world's first theme park for entrepreneurs, where we support the founder's journey from birth of an idea through successful exit or global expansion, all in this 54,000 square foot giant collision station.
Incredible place. We truly invite you to find us, visit the Innovation Center here. As we start off Sunshine Startups Live, I love having startups and certainly startups with successful traction. Our guest today, Yash Daftary, he has done amazing work with his company FANBASIS, and there's a lot of interest, talk about this bursting influencers, combining and getting this sort of these celebrities and people in this area and connecting them with fans. And there seems to be a lot of interest and momentum, and really excited to have you here, kind of talk about you and your business. So Yash, happy 2024. I hope it was great for you and your family. Talk about now 2024. I want to hear about the business, but let's start about your background. Starting off as a young entrepreneur, you're representing Miami today. We've got the 305 in the house. So tell us a little bit about Yash and a little bit about your bio.
Absolutely. So to kind of take it from the top, originally from New York and New Jersey, grew up around there, was kind of invested into entrepreneurship from a pretty early age. My parents are both serial entrepreneurs, and I actually started my first company when I was 15 years old. So it was a marketplace called Rental, which was essentially where kind of Airbnb meets Craigslist. So for example, it's a peer-to-peer ecosystem where you could rent out any belongings that you have and create a stream of income from your house. For example, if you have podcast equipment, chairs, speaker systems, bicycles laying around in your garage or your attic, you could rent that out to other people and essentially create a stream of income from wherever you're living and from whatever you own. So that was my first actual, taste of entrepreneurship, and my first time actually building a startup. Obviously, from a pretty early age, we were able to self-fund everything through dilution-free grants, pitch competitions, things of that nature, and we're able to build a beta product, which gave me a lot of experience and insight on how to actually go through that startup journey. So from I basically operated that company from the ages of 15 to 17, and at that point, we were lucky enough to be able to get an exit opportunity. At that point, I actually ended up attending Emory University in Atlanta. So, lived in Atlanta. My family moved down to Florida in about 2015, about a little over 8 years ago now. I've definitely never looked back at moving back to the Northeast, to be completely frank. It's hard to beat the weather and the taxes.
You don't consider Atlanta the Northeast now, do you?
No. No, that's just where I went to school for a few years. And that's kind of where I got the inspiration to start my journey and moved everything into FANBASIS, where basically after this experience with Rental, I got an opportunity with the venture capital fund called Storm Ventures, based out of Menlo Park, California, up in Silicon Valley. It's funny how it came together. When I was 16 years old, I remember pitching them on my business idea, and they ripped me a new one. It was, a lot of tough questions, and obviously at that age, it was difficult to raise money from venture funds. But after they kind of saw my updates on LinkedIn, they reached out because they were, hiring an internship class, and ended up working out. They were very interested in bringing on someone that was also an entrepreneur onto their team. So originally started as an intern, was able to help them source a few deals, and worked on and provided a lot of value from different perspectives that I was able to bring to the table. Obviously, at that point in time, I was about 18 years old. I was able to provide a lot of unique insights and different ways of thinking that people that are 45, 50 years old might not be able to see, and understand how different generations are kind of interacting with products and different verticals essentially. So Storm was an enterprise SaaS focused fund, typically investing around the Series A, $2 to $6 million check sizes. And the main reason I wanted to do that, at Emory, specifically in the Goizetta Business School, they kind of push you onto finding a path and a track, like whether it be traditional finance, whether it be consulting, whether it be going legal or medical route, whatever it might be. I was kind of pushed down that same path. And, I didn't want to really do traditional finance. I knew deep down, entrepreneurship is what I wanted to do. Kind of where my brain was at was, I'm looking for the next opportunity to build another startup and find a problem that I can build a company around. And in that, time period while I was in school, I thought, working in venture capital might be a really good way for me to transition into that, because not only am I able to see which, industries and verticals are blowing up the most, which ones are getting the most traction, where the coolest companies are, forming. But I'm also able to see, especially at a Series A focused fund, how are these entrepreneurs getting to the point where they're building their business to $1 to $10 million a year in revenue, and then from that point, after an investment, how are they utilizing that capital to grow it to a $100 million business or a $1 billion company? And that's where I was able to really get a lot of value out of this program. And after my summer, internship ended, I ended up getting hired by them full time and worked with them for a few years, while I was still in school. I was able to accomplish my goals of kind of, seeing a lot of these successful entrepreneurs, growing my network, and creating some really solid mentors for me in the process too, that, helped me understand what the steps are to, not only found the business, but even when it comes to developing a tech product, for example, there's a million different ways you can go about it, whether it be building your own team, hiring offshore, whatever it might be. The insights I was able to get from these, successful entrepreneurs was really invaluable. It's not something that you could learn in a classroom or even from just meeting people. It's something you kind of have to see happen and really, semi-experience it in a sense. So, that opportunity led me to another fund called MBX Capital, and was working there in 2020, right when COVID started, is right when I started that opportunity. And I wasn't with them for very long, because that's around when I kind of identified the gap in the market for FANBASIS. So I was doing a market map on the celebrity monetization ecosystem, creator economy, and things of that nature. And obviously during 2020, everyone was sitting in their house and was using social media all the time. People were posting content. Social media platforms like TikTok especially were really blowing up. And on top of that, I would see companies in the space like Cameo, Patreon, even OnlyFans that really exponentially grew in that year, which obviously makes sense while everyone's sitting at home. So that's those were the few key points I identified and said, hey, there's a lot of room in this market to build a new product, and these guys have kind of broken that code of introducing the concept of digital experiences and digital products, and making it mainstream. Now, what if we took that to the next level? And on top of that, another key problem that I identified was I would be utilizing social media as everyone else was, especially TikTok, and I would see influencers popping up left and right that had, within a month or two, they would get 800,000 followers or 1.2 million followers. And what shocked me is a lot of these people would have their Venmo or Cash App link in their bio, which is, I'm sure if any one of us had 1.2 million followers, we have a, at least an 8 or 9 figure business built around that.
That's about our average podcast, right? Well,
that's about average. Yeah,
exactly.
With that being said, after doing some more, digging on the space, I found that about 88% of influencers make less than $50,000 a year.
Get out.
Which was absolutely shocking to me because they obviously flaunt a very nice lifestyle. Half of them live in LA. What you don't see, is they're getting invited to a lot of these events and things for free, and they have access to a lot of things for free. But, at the end of the day, majority of them are living in 2-bedrooms apartment with 4 other influencers and are trying to, make as much money as possible through sponsorship deals and endorsement deals. And the piece that they were, missing really what I identified was, you have 1.2 million fans, or 500,000 people that are following you, whatever it might be, and you're not monetizing directly off of them outside of the most I would see is something like a merchandise store or things of that nature. And the existing products that were out there, like Cameo or Patreon, for example, like with Cameo. There's only so much you can do. You're offering basically a personalized video shout out. If you guys are familiar with it, you can go onto their platform.
I got one on my phone right now. I bought it for my wife's birthday during COVID, and Kenny G did a personal greeting to my wife and my dog.
How about that?
No, see, that's awesome. And that's, where there's a huge novelty component with, that, right? Where you're probably not going to be buying something from Kenny G again in the future. But it was a super cool experience that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. From purchasing that product. And it only really applies to a couple of different types of celebrities. For example, say it was your wife's birthday coming up next week, and she follows this cooking influencer on TikTok that has 2 million followers. You wouldn't really go and get a happy birthday shout out from a cooking influencer, but what we identified on FANBASIS is there's people that would be willing to pay a lot of money to get a one-on-one cooking lesson with that person, or get a personalized meal plan, or whatever it might be.
So that's some of the differentials between Cameo and FANBASIS, is that it's you're and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like you've diversified into other areas, experiences, and what have you. Where Cameo seems to be, as John mentioned, where he went to Cameo and then used and basically sourced Kenny G to do a video clip.
Yeah.
So kind of talk about the differentiators between the two, so it's kind of clear to our audience exactly what it is that FANBASIS does and where Cameo is.
Absolutely, absolutely. So basically, to start, what we built with FANBASIS is a platform where celebrities, athletes, influencers, artists can sell different sorts of digital experiences to their fans. And essentially what we've built is the largest monetization tool set for them to build a business around their brand focused on direct-to-fan monetization. So anything from a one-on-one video call with Dennis Rodman, or a cooking lesson from a Master Chef winner on how to make the perfect filet mignon, even a follow back on Instagram from Kendrick Perkins or your favorite social media influencer. We provide them with all the infrastructure to set up a storefront where they can sell any sort of digital, any sort of experience, digitally, any sort of digital product or service utilizing our platform. And basically, what we've done is kind of combine a lot of the tools that were already existing on the marketplace, put them together into one tool set, and essentially, added more to that to make it a comprehensive suite that allows any sort of individual really to build a storefront based on their brand, offering experiences to their fans based on their skill set, their expertise, whatever they're famous for really. And on the fan side, allows them to get access to these stars in whatever capacity they're really looking for, and also access to a lot of really unique and cool experiences that you wouldn't typically be able to get anywhere else.
So I was driving around your website earlier this morning, and it was interesting. You have a lot of talent on that website. I understand that it's probably fairly easy to find the fan, because now that I've been to your website, I'm definitely going to try it out. There are some individuals on there that I would like to make connections to, given my own network. I'm curious how you actually get in touch with the talent. How do you identify? I know you have different categories, from like you said, the chefs to the athletes to musicians, etc. How do you actually identify them, and then how do you actually make contact with them to sell them on what you're doing?
Yeah, so no, it's a great question, and this is where a lot of our kind of secret sauce came into play originally, and it took a lot of trial and error to make it happen. But one of the main points for us that actually benefits us a lot with fundraising is we've spent $0 on marketing FANBASIS as a platform. We actually haven't advertised the business whatsoever. What we've built is kind of an inherent influencer marketing machine, in a sense, where these celebrities join our platform, or the athletes, and they create their storefront, and now they have a way and a vehicle to monetize their fans, and they're inherently incentivized to promote that storefront to their fans and drive all the sales on our platform. And obviously, after we were able to get a couple thousand of these stars, we were able to build a brand around ourselves. We've already gone over 500 million impressions on social media, and everything's been done completely digitally. So, how did we actually acquire those first few stars? It was very interesting. I mean, I'll tell you a little bit about how we started. We built out the MVP of our platform in 2021. We ended up launching, after we got that proof of concept, we launched the beta version of our app and our website in January of 2022. And that's kind of when we really started the growth process. Kind of the first steps were, we would reach out to a lot of individuals on, directly ourselves outbound, and see if they would want to join our platform. And obviously there were, a few that would want to, but the main thing was no one wants to be the biggest star on a new marketplace or a new, platform, especially when it comes to social media where they have hundreds of thousands of people following them, and every move they make, there's, a lot of people really seeing it. So they want to make sure that they're doing everything correctly, and reputation is something that's difficult to build in this space. So what we ended up doing is, we said, okay, let's try to go the B2B route and connect with agencies, management firms in different companies in the space. And what we would do is, we'd try to partner with an agency. And, most of the time in the beginning when we only had 50 to, even less than 200 stars on our platform, they would say, look, we like the concept, but you guys need to get a little bit more traction. Our stars are too big to join. And essentially anytime an agency said no or a management firm said no to partnering with us, I would have my growth team go ahead and reach out to their whole client roster and pitch them on FANBASIS, and we would end up getting.
You talk about the individual celebrity at that
Correct.
point. So you started top down at the talent agency, and then if there was a no, sort of your logistics model was like, well, let's then go outbound and then target the individual celebrity themselves.
Exactly, and we would do it through social media and Instagram DMs and email, really. And we would end up getting, a dozen or so of their clients on, even if they had, 1,000 clients. There was people that saw the inherent value in the product that we built, where they're like, wow, I don't care about the platform itself. I want to use this because I know I can make a shit ton of money using this platform. So that's kind of where, then they would start joining FANBASIS, and their agency would see them promoting the platform they just said no to partnering with and realize they're getting cut out on the whole deal. And then they would come back to us and say, hey, why don't we actually go ahead and form that partnership where we give them, revenue sharing incentives to bring their clients onto our platform.
Wonderful grassroots way to do a bottom-up strategy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've taken a very lean approach to this and been and utilized, kind of organic growth strategies as well as we can. And after we got a couple of these initial agencies on, they brought on some of their bigger clients, created a snowball effect that we were really able to capture. And once we got on, some of the smaller ones, we were able to capture larger agencies like, divisions of like WME, first round management, whoever it might be. And now, that ended up letting us build kind of a brand on the B2B side of things, where all these agencies and management firms knew what our platform was and saw that, other agencies were utilizing our platform to make their clients extra money and are essentially providing new value propositions for their own management firm and agency, saying, hey, we have a partnership with FANBASIS. Not only will we bring you all the sponsorship and advertisement deals, we'll get you set up on this platform, manage it for you, and you'll be able to make money by selling experiences to your fans. And on top of that, your engagement and fan following will actually, go through the roof as well. When you do, say someone buys a cooking lesson with that influencer they've been following and seeing on TikTok for the last 2 years, or, buys a free throw shooting lesson from a basketball player. Not only were they, obviously they were fans, prior to purchasing that experience, and they were very interested in who that star was. But after you have an experience like that, they typically, what we call them is, they become super fans for you, where now essentially anything that you promote in the future, this is going to be one of your number one customers that is probably going to go and be actionable to purchase something like that. And we provide that data to these, management firms, agencies, and the athletes, whoever it might be, the celebrities themselves, to, essentially kind of tie in whatever revenue they're able to generate from our platform and whatever data they're able to get using FANBASIS on who their best clients are, and utilize that in marketing for whatever other initiatives they're working on, whether it be, growing a new social platform they just jumped on YouTube, or whatever it might be. We basically tell them, hey, these are your core clients that are your strongest supporters. These should be the ones that you're basically beta testing everything with, quote unquote. And on top of that, obviously as there were case studies of people that, generated a lot of money on our platform, they were telling their friends. We had a referral program, and really created a lot of network effects. And, we amplified that as much as possible as well. Network effects has been probably about 30% of the growth of the business. And we've taken a couple of different, really like strategies on social media to do that, where, for example, we went really viral in the reality TV space this year, with shows like The Bachelor, Love Island, and whatever else they might be. We partnered with an agency that had a lot of those clients, and they brought on, probably 24 of them at once onto FANBASIS. What we said is, hey, if you guys want to go live on FANBASIS, obviously the best way to make money using this is to promote it directly to your fans. On top of that, if you guys, promote FANBASIS and do a hard post with us on Instagram and a collaborated post where, it shows their profile and FANBASIS' profile to all of their followers, we'll, instead of us taking 20% from your end, we'll take 15% for the next 7 days while you're making as many sales as possible. And we'll put you on our homepage on our reality TV star. So you're getting, access to all the organic traffic on our platform. So we gave them little incentives. And what that really does is create large network effects for us, where if we had, 24 reality TV stars post about FANBASIS in, a 48 or 72 hour span, not only are all of their fans seeing all those promotions everywhere and saying, wow, this is something I need to check out. Everyone I'm following is on this. But the other influencers and stars, reality TV stars following them also see, wow, all of my peers are making money on this platform. What the hell am I doing? How do I get on this? And then they would reach out to us and creates a whole inbound funnel. So that's just, I know it's a long-winded answer, but that's kind of some of the ways that we've been able to grow the business.
Well, it's really amazing, and congratulations on your success. And you're still young. You got a million years ahead of you. So I'll be curious where you go and what other things you get into. And I'd like to deviate for a moment and talk a little bit about the state of Florida and the ecosystem around the themes of innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship. And usually when we have guests on this show, we like to talk about their perceptions about how strong our environment is for entrepreneurs at all the different stages, from early stage, scale up opportunities to more established. What is your perception of Florida, and in particular South Florida, as it relates to supporting the entrepreneurship ecosystem, the good, the bad, the ugly?
Absolutely. So it's a great question. And I think I have a unique perspective on answering this as well. So when I ended up starting this business when I was still in school. I was, working at MBX Capital, and I had about a year left to graduate. I ended up graduating early to work on FANBASIS full time. And my original goal was I was planning on moving to LA to start the business because, that's where historically
a lot of the celebrities are located.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I said, I'll go there, get in the right circles, and be able to, network properly. And funny enough, during COVID, California was not the place to be. Absolutely the last place you wanted to be. So, I remember we had I even had a deposit down in an apartment over there. We were fully planning on making that move. And when I went to visit it, I said, yeah, this is not going to happen. One, I can't even take a client out to lunch. But on top of that, this is just not in my opinion, the right place to start a business, just given the opportunity. So I ended up starting the business in Miami, and really headquartered down here in beginning of 2021. And that was the absolute best decision we've ever made. One, all of those celebrities ended up moving to Florida anyway because, of the taxes and because of the COVID restrictions and weather. So it kind of created that whole shift. And as you guys have seen, in the last 2 years, the startup ecosystem down here has been absolutely booming. I want to shout out, Mayor Suarez for that too, especially in Miami, with creating a lot of those, the NFT weeks of the world and, the startup weeks, crypto weeks, whatever it might be, because that got a lot of, business, people involved in a lot of the different business verticals down to Florida and Miami, and created a whole nother shift of individuals moving down here. And, not only because they saw that the kind of lifestyle that you'd be able to take advantage of in a place like this, but this was the place to be. Outside of Silicon Valley, I would say Miami was as competitive over the last 2 years when it came to, networking for startups and finding the right people you need for your team. I would say, I've gotten a tremendous amount of value from living down here and being able to, have access to all the different opportunities based out of South Florida, especially Miami, compared to anywhere else, I think on the planet that I would have been, headquartering the business out of.
And that's great. I mean, obviously showcasing the activity and the muscle behind what's happening here, and obviously you're a product of that. Thank you for staying and your company and creating jobs here. It's wonderful. Talk about FANBASIS a little bit more, and I'm curious on the business model where the celebrities, who sets their rates? Do the celebrities set their rate? And then you're obviously getting a piece of that rate, whatever it's set. But if I'm a celebrity, do I go in and say I'm a $25 an hour guy or $200? So how does that relationship and communication go with a celebrity? I imagine that must be some challenge, because if I, in my mind as a celebrity, think I'm a $100 an hour guy, maybe you tell me, well, you might want to set your price at $10 an hour. That might be somewhat insulting,
Well,
right?
if you and I are on there, it would just say priceless.
I like that. So how does that, because a celebrity has an ego.
Absolutely.
And I
Trust me, I know.
Yes, and I'm sure you see that. So talk about that. I'm curious as to how does that correspondence go back and forth? Who sets the price, and what's your experience there?
Yeah, so we provide like a white glove service with essentially every client that joins our platform, and that's one of the main reasons we actually have a 96% conversion rate from anyone that's using a different platform in our space to join FANBASIS. That plus the product itself that we've built out. So the way it works is, say a celebrity wants to join our platform, we essentially have an onboarding call with them where, prior to that call, we go through, do a full social audit and see, exactly what is this person's brand, how are their fans engaging, what do the fans like about this person, so that we can figure out what kind of experiences would probably sell the best. And we essentially give them, a couple of different ideas on experiences they can sell. And obviously, no one knows their own audience better than the star themselves, so they also have some pretty unique ideas. And the more unique the experiences are, typically the more successful these individuals are. And basically, they, at the end of the day, they set their own prices. We're a platform. We're providing them the software to, host their business, right? But we heavily advise them saying, look, like we know, what's going to work here and what's not going to work. If you're, an influencer that has 10,000 followers, you can't be selling something for $10,000 either. So we basically tell them, at the end of the day, we treat actually each FANBASIS storefront as its own, e-commerce store in a sense, because that's essentially what it is. It's an e-commerce store that's selling digital products just geared towards an individual. And we say, look, you can set these prices, whatever you think is fair. And after you promote it, you'll get a really good idea of what's going to be selling and what's not going to be selling. Say you, you price a Instagram follow back at $100. We actually had one individual last year. She made, in 1 month, she made over $20,000 just selling Instagram follow backs alone, which she didn't spend a single, second actually doing. Her manager did it, followed all these people on Instagram, but people were paying $100 outright to do it. So we said, hey, you got to up the price on this. People are willing to pay $100. They'll be willing to pay $150 or $200 as well. And on the other side of things, if we see an experience that's, maybe you had a video call for $500, that's not selling, or you're only selling one of those a month, we'd say, look, we think that you should drop the price down on this. And at the end of the day, it needs to make sense for their time as well, right? If it's for example, with professional athletes right now, the NFL guys, especially that are in the playoffs and things of that nature, they have a lot of limited time at the moment. If they're selling video calls, it's got to be really worth their while to do it. So, based on what their business is in general, and we treat each of them as a business, essentially. That's what they are. They build a brand that they can monetize off of. We, kind of adjust accordingly. And, we try to do, what's interesting too is a lot of people think that, when stars join FANBASIS, they probably make the most amount of money in the first month or 2 months of using our platform. That's absolutely not the case, because of the fact that it's not just one product that we're selling. On another platform like a Cameo or a Patreon, where they just have a membership or one product that they're selling, it's pretty standard of what they're going to be making every month. And obviously when they promote it initially, they're going to be driving more traffic to that page. And, that's kind of going to, all the people that really, really want that experience are going to buy it up front, and then it's going to kind of die off. You'll be able to make some sales, but nothing crazy. With us, what we say is, look, like we want to test things out, and we come up with a lot of unique ideas on how to do that. With some of the stars that we have that are, more lifestyle influencers, we typically say like, hey, we want you to do it. We want you to add a new and unique experience every 2 weeks to your platform, so that you can promote FANBASIS in a new way. You're not promoting the same exact thing. And we don't even ask them to promote our brand, really. The brand value comes by itself. But we say, I'm going to be at Comic-Con next week. If you want to be able to meet me in person, promote that for 2 weeks. Or if you're going to be, launching your new, reality TV show in 6 months from now, 5 months from now, you should be doing a bunch of experiences asking about the behind the scenes of that, or whatever it might be. Typically, as we're able to, after 4 to 6 weeks, we're able to really see what the fans want and what the fans don't really care about. And we're able to optimize their page accordingly, which ends up, making it a tail end on the other side of things, where they're making more and more sales, every month, because of the way that we're optimizing their business.
So celebrities are high profile, obviously, and generally what you see is positive. but there's always somebody that may bring some negativity with them. And I'm curious, do you have any control mechanisms in place that if somebody's on the platform and all of a sudden they're in the media for the wrong reasons, do they remain on the platform or not?
We've been lucky that situations only probably happened to us twice. And typically, yeah, we look, the way we try to the way we create relationships with these people is, we're not just a software that you're using. We want to be a partner for you. And we're a partner. You have a manager that focuses on getting your deals. You have an agent that focuses on getting your bookings. We're going to be that partner for you on monetizing from your fans. And at the end of the day, depending on what the situation is, obviously we would adjust accordingly and say, hey, maybe you should go a little bit more low profile for 2 weeks, or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, we haven't had anything really outrageous. We had one of our stars, I don't want to mention his name, but he went missing for like 2 weeks, which was crazy. And what the craziest part of that is, as soon as people found that out, his sales spiked.
Because they wanted to talk to him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. We're canceling the next 3 podcasts. People are going to wonder where we are. We're going to get a big following base next time.
But no, at the end of the day, we have the ability to, obviously turn off anyone's storefronts, and we do a very good job at monitoring. Customer success is one of our main priorities as well. But we've been lucky enough to not have to deal with that issue too many times.
Interesting. And I'm just curious too with the way that the technology works, because I haven't used it yet, but are there ways that it's live interaction or is it all pre-taped?
So it's a combination of everything. So any sort, you can do a one-on-one interaction. You can even host a full webinar or pay-per-view style like digital event on our platform where you can get 1,000 people to join, whatever you wanted to host. It could also be something like a social media interaction where it's like a shout out on someone's Instagram story or, on a duet on someone's TikTok. So those are obviously, off our platform, but majority of everything is on our platform. And then, for people that are typically busier, the larger celebrities, for example, there's some bigger athletes we're working with right now where they don't have the time to be doing 1 million video calls a week because they need to focus on, basketball or football, whatever it might be. So we tell them, hey, you should create some of those pre-recorded experiences where, you can do a free throw shooting, routine or lesson and record that once, take the 15 minutes or 30 minutes to actually get that done. We'll, handle the editing for you, make it look really nice. And then they have a digital product that they can essentially sell. And we love the digital products because, then they don't need to charge crazy, ridiculous prices for, their time because the goal is to do, more volume on those fronts. And they can sell, 1,000 of them for $40 instead of selling one thing for, would have to be $1,000 or $2,000. So, yeah.
You've had tremendous success, obviously, already. Young entrepreneur, obviously great background, having experiences in venture capital yourself and understanding the fundraising process. New year, new you, as they say. What's on deck for FANBASIS? Coming up. What's the strategy as Cameo's there? FANBASIS, you guys are trying to, in some ways compete in the same space. There's some similarities there between the companies. What's on deck for differentiators and for the business itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been working 18-hour days since this, for the last 2 weeks, I'd say, but there's a lot of exciting stuff in the works that, the whole team is really driven on. But, one thing I want to clarify too is we typically use Cameo, as a company that people, typically when someone hears our concept or looks at our homepage, they're like, oh, this is something similar. We don't really consider them to be our a main competitor. They, obviously compete with us on the personalized video aspect of things. But that's really it. The solution that we're providing is very different, and our target customer is also very different. When I say target customer, I mean on the star side of things. For example, with something like Cameo, their goal is to get all the A-listers of the world to join their platform because they're the people that are easiest to get someone to buy or sell something from because they're super recognizable. And those guys are, obviously they're multimillionaires, if not, have 9-figure net worths. They're happy to do it to make a couple extra $1,000 a month while they can record a quick video while they're, in an Uber ride to wherever they're going. With our platform, that's not kind of what the goal is. We don't the A-listers are great because it helps with our brand and it makes our platform more recognizable. We get more impressions when they promote it. But what we're really looking for are those medium-sized influencer stars that, are going to utilize FANBASIS as their central business hub. And we've had individuals, and different brands on our platform over the last year that's generated over, $1 million by selling these different experiences. because they utilize FanBasis as their central business hub. This is their this is what their main revenue stream is. And that's what our bread and butter is. And that's what we're really looking for in the bulk of the business. And going into kind of what we're expanding into this year and some of our initiatives, it's been really interesting. What we really discovered over the last year or two is, our focus is always on those celebrities, athletes, and influencers. But and we've also found a niche where like people that are operating businesses that could be influentials as well. They have social media brands. For example, like sports analytics is a brand, a vertical that's really taken off for us. Where there's sports betting influencers or people that just basically post content relating to sports all day, and they'll sell experiences where people can get access to all their sports bets for the next week or a month, or get fantasy advice. I'll help you draft your fantasy football team. But those are some of these brands aren't they don't even have a face on them. They're just businesses that have been built on social media that have hundreds of thousands of followers, and are able to utilize FanBasis to monetize all the customers in a sense. Those are less of even fans following them. Those are really direct customers that they're looking to run, and they're hosting their whole business on FanBasis. And what we've realized is maybe we should dive into that a little bit more. At the end of the day, we've found a lot of success on the celebrity athlete influencer side of things, but we found some of our whales don't even have a face on their brand. And how does that happen? At the end of the day, we've built a tool set, the largest tool set for monetizing essentially any sort of digital product, service, subscription, membership. You can do all of that on our marketplace. And what we found is, different businesses can sell any sort of digital product or service through our platform. And kind of our end goal here is to be the Amazon for digital experiences, not be, a Cameo on steroids. Where 5 years down the road, I want someone to be able to purchase an experience with you, you're on our platform, and pay you $500 to give them it.
My experience with me is $1,000. I wanted to share that with you.
But I would like them to pay you $2,000
okay.
to give some feedback on their pitch deck or their financial model or whatever it might be. And that's kind of what we're really expanding on right now. The strategy here for go-to-market was we can utilize these celebrities and star power on our platform to grow the business, and which is why we've been able to generate millions of dollars without having to spend a single dollar on marketing. But now that we've built this brand and we have this tool set that works really well with a really solid product, we can get people that have just agencies, different businesses that can run all their services through our platform. They can host a course on FanBasis, and whatever it might be. And we're finding a lot of traction on that front too, where basically by the end of this year, not only will we have tens of thousands of celebrities using FanBasis, but we'll also have a tremendous amount of businesses utilizing our platform's backend to essentially host their whole business on. And it's a little bit of a different model. Obviously, they're not promoting a follow back on Instagram to their fans, but you can buy a $7,000 marketing course from an e-commerce guru or from a business that specializes in that specific skill. And we're having a lot more people come to FanBasis now, not only because they find cool experiences that they want to do for a novelty purpose or for someone's birthday or whatever it might be, because they're super fans of someone, but we have people using our platform to learn new skills, learn from people on how to start their own businesses. A really solid niche that we've captured too, which makes a lot of sense, is business influencers. Even the business influencers that have 10,000 followers or 15,000 followers have a business mindset and understand how to market things properly. And what we're kind of looking for, and what we found on that side of things too, is those businesses that use FanBasis to host their whole business in a sense are the ones that are actually putting their own marketing dollars behind promoting whatever services they're offering and funneling all of that through our platform. So we don't need to even advertise that whole segment, because they're going to do it for us, and we're providing them with a lot of value on the actual fulfillment side of things, payment processing side of things, and essentially kind of provide them with the CRM and all the tools they need to monetize off of all those customers.
You could see the excitement and the energy, the enthusiasm of a platform like this. We've got about a minute left. Do you want to throw the Rubik's?
I don't know what it is, but
Yash?
maybe it doesn't. I'm not a celebrity. I got 18,000 plus followers on LinkedIn, but I get a lot of inquiries from people. How do you build a theme park for entrepreneurs? Like, to the point that it probably could be a business, right? Consulting, advising. But can you take a nobody like me? Can I be on FanBasis, and am I able to sell pieces of time to explain to you how you do it? And I mean, would you look at somebody like that?
So absolutely. A year ago, we would have probably said no, to be honest, because we were trying to hyper focus the brand around the best talent that we can get for our platform and make it, relatively exclusive as well. So it creates that demand. Even when we were early on and we would have a ton of time on the onboarding and growth side of things because we weren't, growing with the partnerships that we were making and things of that nature, in the early stages of the business, we would still create that exclusive environment where, if someone reached out to us and said, hey, I want to join your platform, we'd say, hey, you can apply here and there's a 2-week waiting period. We'll get back to you whenever we're ready for you to join. And obviously, as soon as they get everything set up after waiting for 2 weeks, they're absolutely excited to go and promote it. But now we actually do have a couple LinkedIn influencers on our platform. One of our investors, actually, a guy named Jason Shanker, he's a LinkedIn influencer as well. He's got, I think, over 250,000 followers on LinkedIn now. But
you got a way to go, John. You got a way to go.
Regardless, what I was saying earlier too is, some of those business influencers that we have, it doesn't matter what social that they use to really get that following. Some of them only have 10,000 followers or 15,000 followers, and they're able to make a lot of money because they're providing an offer on FANBASIS that provides value to their fans in one way or the other. So I would say yes, absolutely. I'd love to get you set up.
All right, this afternoon I'm going to go back on the
Yash, congratulations on the success. FANBASIS, it's an exciting venture. Capitalizing on influencers, celebrity, and connecting them with fans. How do potential, either for partnerships, potential customers, how do they reach you? How do they reach the business?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say either going to the contact us on our website or emailing team@FANBASIS would be the best way to do it. I also always have my LinkedIn messages open, so always looking to connect with new people and people that we can work with in an interesting way.
Very good.
I sent you a friend request today, by the way, or a LinkedIn request, I should say. Hopefully accepted.
Terrific. Yash, congratulations. Welcome to 2024. Wish you all the success coming up in the new year. Yash Daftary, thank you so much. The company's FANBASIS. Thanks for being on the podcast today.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me here. It was a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you.
Remember to subscribe, like, and share the Sunshine Startups Live podcast and follow us on social media. If you're interested in sponsoring or appearing on the show, please email us at booking@sunshinestartups.live.